Hi, I'm Amber, a personal trainer here at Seattle Athletic Club. In this video, we're going to address several different techniques for stretching a muscle. There are several different ways to stretch a muscle. One is a static stretch, where you're holding a fixed position for a prolonged period. Active stretching is where you're bringing a muscle through a range of motion, allowing blood flow to the muscle while simultaneously creating length. Another type of stretching is dynamic stretching. This is utilizing momentum to lubricate the joint, create elongation of the muscle, and elasticity of the fascia. Another type of stretching is resistance stretching, and that's where you're actually contracting the muscle and creating a length during that contraction in its eccentric phase. In this video, I'm going to bring you through several different stretches for the quadriceps, hip flexors, and hamstrings. When performing a quadriceps stretch, make sure that both hips are straightly aligned, keeping your feet in alignment with the hips, making sure to tuck your hips underneath and creating a long enough stride for maximum elongation of the quadricep and hip flexors. Another way to stretch the quadricep is by holding the foot directly behind you, knee towards the ground, and by changing your foot position out as well as in. This affects the quadricep in different areas, so you're effectively stretching all four muscles. A good active stretch for the quadriceps and hip flexors is a walking lunge, reaching the arm up and above and then opening up, gets effectively into the psoas muscle. A classic dynamic stretch for the quadriceps, hip flexors, and hamstrings is a leg swing. Forward and back leg swings should be performed with a neutral spine, tight core. This will create elongation of the muscles, elasticity of the fascia, and lubricate the hip joint. Resistance stretching is a technique that uses the muscle as it goes through a concentric phase, squeezing, and then during the stretch, squeezes during the eccentric phase. So first you want to warm up the quadricep by each time going back, squeezing as you lift. During this phase of resistance stretching, squeeze the quadricep as you push into this motion. That's the eccentric phase of the motion. This will create length while squeezing. This is a good single leg hamstring stretch. Make sure to lean in, put the weight on the opposite leg. Don't lock the knee. Twisting your hips towards the midline effectively stretches the bicep femoris, and away stretches semitendinosus. A good active stretch for the hamstrings is called a track stretch. Walk out at a big stride, rise into your heel, sit your hips back, and try to create as much length as you can in the back of the leg. Your knee won't completely straighten, which is fine, just creating as much length as you can. This resistance stretch for the hamstring can be done with the same slight modifications as the static stretch. Grab the back of the heel and perform a few contractions of the hamstring during the concentric motion. Then squeeze the hamstring muscle during the eccentric motion, using your own resistance to create more difficulty. There are additional stretches that can be done with a fitness professional. One is assisted stretching, and that's where you're being assisted through a passive range of motion. Another is PNF, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. That's short isometric contractions followed by assisted stretching through a passive movement. If you would like to know more stretches for these muscles that we've covered today, please contact me.